foundation for our relationship ladder, exploring our beliefs about relationships in general. And we are looking at this because we want to potentially discover if there are any beliefs that are limiting us. We want to essentially foster a sense of hope. We want to become more hopeful about where our relationship can go. So looking at your beliefs, you may already be aware of some of them, or you might not, and that's okay. But firstly, we want to look for any positive beliefs about relationships that we have. So have we seen a lot of long-term marriages? Have we seen couples be happily married for, 40 plus years? Does that influence what we think and what we think about our own relationship? And on the flip side, have we seen couples that, have gotten divorced, or do we think that divorce is the norm? Have we seen a lot of infidelity, right? And how is that influencing us? So we just want to take a look. First step is noticing what we're potentially thinking or feeling. And so we are going to move through this using a couple tools and techniques for finding out more about what your beliefs are. You might not even know that they're happening, right? So here are some tools and techniques to help you grow your sense of awareness about your own beliefs about your relationship. So awareness is key here. We want to know what we're thinking. We want to recognize our thoughts in an effort to increase hope, right? And so we're going to use the idea of a thought mirror. So imagine that there is a mirror in front of you that could catch all of your thoughts and reflect them back to you. Because sometimes we don't even recognize when we're having strong thoughts or beliefs about relationships, positive or negative. And so the first step is simply being aware and noticing those thoughts when they're happening, right? Because we can't fix what we don't know is there. Okay, so using your thought mirror, let's say you've found a thought that you want to work with. You've noticed, okay, this is a really strong belief that I have about relationships. And so our next step, ideally, is trying to challenge thoughts about relationships. So I'm going to give you an example. Let's say that you have noticed that every once in a while you find yourself thinking, oh, I can't trust my partner. I just feel like I can't trust him or her, and this relationship is never going to work. And you find yourself saying something like that, right? And so we want to first recognize when these thoughts or beliefs are fear-based, right? We want to do what we call reality testing. So recognizing that these thoughts or beliefs are based on a fear, and then trying to find the gap between fear and reality, because in that gap, that is where change can happen, right? And so we can challenge thoughts by finding more benign or neutral ways to think about things. So even if you aren't sure that you can find a reason to start thinking that you can trust your partner, you can practice saying more neutral statements like, well, I'm not sure if I can trust my partner yet, but I know that I can talk to him or her, and that we can at least have a conversation about this. Or maybe you can find evidence against this idea that you can't trust your partner. And so you try to find facts against that and think to yourself, well, he or she hasn't really given me any concrete reasons to think that I can't trust him or her. So this must be a fear for me. This is largely based on fear and not so much based on reality. And so that is what we call challenging thoughts, challenging some of our stronger beliefs about relationships. If you're not there yet, that's okay. You can also work on refocusing your thoughts. And that is exactly what it sounds like. It is redirecting your thoughts elsewhere. And this actually helps because it is meant to reduce the amount of times you are repeating to yourself, I don't trust my partner. I don't think this is going to work. And so that is ultimately helping and, believe it or not, increasing your sense of hope about your relationship, because we're taking away some of those, innate, strong, more negative thoughts and beliefs about relationships. And so refocusing might look something like this. You're using your thought mirror, you catch that thought, and you think, oh, okay, here I am. I just had that strong thought about my relationship, and I am going to refocus my attention elsewhere. That can be external. You can listen to music, you can turn on the TV, go for a walk, get in a conversation with somebody, or it can be internal. You can use techniques like grounding or meditation, breath work, anything to just shift your thinking, right? And so that is what we call cognitive refocusing or redirecting your thoughts. So we also want to look for exceptions against our stronger beliefs about relationships. So if you find yourself thinking, I know a lot of people that get divorced. I know a lot of people that are unhappy in their relationships. I think divorce is the norm. And you recognize that that's what you're telling yourself. We want to look for exceptions, meaning, who do you know in your life that isn't divorced? Who do you know that is in a healthy relationship, a happy relationship that they've been able to sustain for years and years? And even better than just calling that to your attention, maybe interview those people and say, how'd you do it? What are you doing? Tell me about your relationship, right? So finding exceptions can be really, really helpful. Another really natural, simple technique for looking at our beliefs about relationships and exploring those is processing. And this is what we naturally do in therapy and out of therapy. We are always processing as we are communicating with our partner, with friends, with a therapist. And so processing is just recognizing thoughts, recognizing past experiences, and potentially learning to look at those thoughts or experiences or feelings with a new lens. And so the power of communication and just sitting with our ideas and beliefs can be very powerful. So the last technique that I want to leave you with for exploring your beliefs about relationships is the corrective emotional experience. And this is my favorite. This is what therapy is all about. The corrective emotional experience is when your expectations about something are contradicted by reality. Meaning, I'll give you an example. Let's say you and your partner, you feel like you always get in a fight about a certain topic and it never ends well. You never seem to be able to resolve it. You're left feeling really frustrated and angry, upset, you name it, right? And then one day, the two of you, maybe you don't resolve it, but it ends a little bit better. Your fight ends with a hug or with a moment where one of you says something like, let's not do this anymore. Let's just leave this one for a minute. And you surprise yourself with how it went, right? And so it's looking at a situation, experiencing something in a different way, and coming out of that saying, oh, that was new. We've never been able to do that before. So having those experiences with your partner changes you. It changes the way that you think, the way that you feel, the way that you experience being in your relationship. I've seen a lot of relationships And what I know for sure is that you have the power to create the relationship you want. You have the power to create the relationship you want based on choices, based on what I call choice-based behavior. Because in every moment, there's a pivotal moment where you get to choose how you're going to respond next, how you're going to behave, what you're going to do, you and your partner. And the good news is it only takes one person in a relationship to change that relationship. So, you know, I've told you people come into therapy and they'll tell me they want to work on their relationship, but it's just one person. And maybe they'll say, my partner's not ready, or my partner doesn't believe in therapy. And you can still make a change in your relationship just with one person. Imagine getting into a pool and creating a ripple effect. That's what you're doing. You're interrupting homeostasis. You're interrupting the status quo. This is systems theory. This is what marriage and family therapy was based on. And so I hope that provides some hope for you. If just one person in the relationship changes what they think about relationships and how they show up in their relationship, you have the power to change your relationship. You can create the relationship that you want.